Just to kind of formalize, I'm interested in actually formalizing a real OEM.
Now, it doesn't really cost anything to do that.
It doesn't cost, we utilize a lot of volunteers, things like warming centers and stuff like that. If there is a little, severe power outage, getting some of your folks in here, even just cell phone charging and stuff like that, a bathroom people can use. That we typically rely on volunteers. There's a little bit of trainings. All the trainings are, the county will do, pamphlet, leaflets, at big community events. That's all done. I'm sure the borough wouldn't have a problem with it. I know hers, different things you can get involved in. I know we talked about Country Chrysler's here. I spoke to John and he talked about the fireworks and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of community involvement. There's CERT classes that are done, which is Community Emergency Response Teams. Gives them like a basic overview of first aid and stuff. If a tornado comes barreling through somebody's development, it's just something that can be done. But, to formalize it and actually create an OEM is very simple. It's just mission statement, recruitment, volunteer recruitment. I think there's a couple people that I know that I could tap into. But it's something I'm interested in. I would ask for a little bit of a budget from you just to do things like, obviously, domain register. There's probably links you can do and stuff like that, but just a domain register, a website. That's something that, gets word across. I think having an official capacity, it's a coordination. The school district, obviously, there's some pseudo-government things with their emergency operations plans. Chrissy DePalantino does that with the county. Coordinating with them, hey, we're here, we're a resource. We have guys with, the road crew, and if, a development gets barreled over by a storm, Bill can, go out and with his guys and get the roads opened up. And it's just a little bit more of a coordination during your emergency events. So it's just something that I have a little bit of experience in, obviously. Disasters can hit anywhere. I come from the private side, which is if this stadium collapses, everyone's evacuated to this other stadium. But I think as far as the business relationships and stuff like that, they all kind of go hand in hand. So I would ask for a little bit of a budget. Obviously, you guys, it sounds like, saved a little bit of money on certain things. A lot of that would go into actually formalizing it. I just say budget, but obviously a mission statement you guys would like to look over, I'm sure. I don't know if your solicitor would get involved that's something she would kind of overview too. So budgets for things like that to come up with a mission statement. It's pretty clear cut. It's liaisoning with the county. So when two municipalities have an incident together, it taps into some county resources too. But it's actually formalizing an OEM. It's getting you guys to get your NIMS training done, which needs to be done.
What line would something like that go under?
Probably at this point put it under our buildings and grounds, under other services and charges, I think.
So it'd be,
how much would you have a thought as to how
John was like, good luck. I don't think he's gotten much.
Bill, sorry. John Reynolds got $500 a month. I'd like to increase it to $250, give him $250 raise.
Okay, that's something we
Is he doing
would.
anything that's worth that?
Bill's just comment telling you what's going on.
I'm going to stay neutral out of that and your history with that. I would like to formalize it though. I don't want paid to do it. I want a
I
budget.
don't think we give him a raise. It's more of a volunteer position.
No, he asked me.
No, he isn't.
Oh, he asked for us.
Yes.
So he asked me about it.
When we reappoint him at the reorganization meeting, is when he tells us how much he wants.
Is under buildings and grounds. I think just
I can't see
until we actually formalize it, and then maybe once we do, then I'll give it a line item.
Well, that was the reason of coming in here today, because even if it's something, I'm gonna ask for 2,500, you guys do what you wanna do with it. You do have 8,600 residents in the township. It is a large geographic township. I know in speaking to like Joe Badman and Amy, you have a big township. At the PEMA conference, nobody was from down in this neck of the woods was there. And it's just coordinating. PEMA's doing a lot of big exercises. They have a huge brand new operations center going in. Eventually down the road, you could get into things like an EOC for here, which is Emergency Operations Center, which would be, you don't have a lot of public safety stuff, but you're interagency supporting other, agencies like the borough and, you know, West Nottingham.
Didn't
and
we have a
stuff like
couple
that.
years ago, the power went out, a lot of people didn't have no power?
And that would be something where we would have, you would recruit volunteers from the community to come staff things like, you know, turn this into a warming center. And it's
But John
meant-
did a good job trying to get up, he had a meeting at the fire office
Right,
about this.
and that's part of the coordination
You were there, John.
Yes, for the hurricane.
for Sandy. So, I mean, he was interested in kind of getting it more going to, his thing was, he's not a township resident, and he doesn't really have a lot to come to use guys as far as, you know, board of supervisors, and I don't think he felt there was a lot of cooperation, but I mean, I'm at every meeting, so, and
Well, how does this work in general? For example, back in the storm, maybe it was Sandy, but also in the ice storm, like Avon Grove High School is designated as an emergency center, and they had, you know, some people come, not too many. Now, I thought that was kind of set and coordinated, and we're part of that.
you can be.
Always
You have your
happens.
AGREM, which is the Avon Grove Regional Emergency Management, which is kind of, but that's Avon Grove.
You got the high school.
You have, if that's if they open it. Here's the thing, with OEM, you could have, let's say there's a power outage that's only affecting this area, East Nottingham, one side of the township. It's gonna be out, Pico needs to get a substation in, whatever. That could be a little mini disaster in your township. It's not gonna trigger AGREM to open up Avon Grove and the warming center and doing all that up there. But if you have a couple outlets here and you have a generator and you have volunteer community support, which is, you know, I mean, we have a huge volunteer, you know, force with us, so we would open up facilities that the borough has to, hey, plug in your cell phones, use a toilet. We're only gonna be open from noon to 4, but, you know, come on over and get yourself set up. If there was a major event that involves multiple jurisdictions, you will get the county. Once it becomes a major, but there's a coordination from a local, if you look at Phoenixville's, it's basically coordination. It's community outreach, obviously, with First Friday, Girl Boy Scouts, it's getting them first aid, CPR trained, stuff like that. Social media, an official source, readynotify.gov. As if you have an OEM, you can actually send out readynotify.gov messages just to your actual township residents. And that's something that's almost like a reverse 911. Community emergency response teams and training works closely with the Department of Emergency Services as well as privately owned businesses. One of the things was, you know, fireworks at the,
At the Blum.
you know, it's firework issues and, you know, it's instead of just trying to, you're not gonna shut people down from fireworks, but just, hey, if something were to happen, a little bit of pre-planning into it. Your emergency operations center, which that would be down the road, you gotta kind of formalize first, get some volunteer involvement. And it's recovery relief, OEM works with government organizations following a disaster to provide.
So if we were to do something like this, you would be able to keep us up to date month by month?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's actually forming an OEM, an actual Office of Emergency Management, and it's just having, it's volunteers. I mean, we're all volunteers for the borough. I don't get paid. I got reimbursed mileage and, you know, I got, you know, PEMA paid for me to go to the PEMA conference, but, you know, all the trainings and the, you know, pamphlets and things to hand out for helping people prepare and ready themselves for disasters, the county will provide to you. But it's actually having somebody coordinate it a little bit and kind of get some volunteer. I mean, I know of 2 people just in my development that would volunteer to do like a warming center. If it's just affecting our township, they're not gonna, you know, invoke and open up Avon Grove and do the school, and they might
So
not
a
even
hurricane comes through and 3 developments lose their electricity for 3 days, they have a place to go to charge their phones.
And that's something that the OEM would help coordinate.
That kind of stuff, right? Because you're not gonna get the county involved with that if it's only 3 little areas.
No, they're not.
But at least there's something for the residents.
They'll help support it, but they're not gonna pay for it. They're not gonna come down here,
Right.
and they're not gonna say, send your 3 development people, which is a total of 60 people, up to, you know, Avon Grove, and they're just not
Right.
gonna, it's just more of a coordination. It's, hey, Bill, you know, coordinating with the roadmaster, this development, you know, had this issue, the storm blew through, there's trees all over the place, we can't get people in and out. It's just kind of activating. That's where it gets into later down the road is the Emergency Operations Center, which is, it's just your township. It might be a board of supervisor personnel. It might be somebody from the road crew, and that kind of gets into, you don't have a police department, so that doesn't really come into play. It'll coordinate with other agencies though. The OEMs coordinate with other agencies, so. It's something I'm willing to put forth a little bit of time and get some more community involvement to get some people, you know, get their NIMS training. You guys have to do at least one of his needs to go on and do NIMS 100, 200, 700, 800. It's county money that if there was a disaster, you have to do it.
What is NIMS?
It's National Incident Management System. It's through FEMA. It's just an online class that helps to explain, this is your liaison officer, this is the command structure, this is what this is. It's all the organizational management for OEM. So, and that's something we would work with you by forming an OEM to have maybe one of you involved in it a little bit, get you trained, get you up to date on all your certifications.
So, I mean, you think it's a good idea? Art, what's your thoughts? In a quick brief
Remember we
synopsis.
had over the winter last winter, there was a fear that certain things were gonna happen, and we were making arrangements for the school over here, so you get showers,
Right.
places to stay, not overnight,
Gene, what's your
and
thoughts?
something like that.
Well, I don't see it as a big need, because I see if it's a hurricane or an ice storm, it's gonna be a little more global and have a county service. It all sounds beneficial.
It's
but-
coordination with Chester County. It's
You
your municipality's coordination with the
I
actual
don't think
county.
it would hurt.
I don't,
I think it's a good idea.
Well, it's gonna, it could, it's
See,
probably
that's
worth
neat.
it.
You know, it may not cost us anything, it may cost a little bit,
It's
but
gonna
I
cost
think it,
$2,500.
Well, it's one of those things where you may not think it's needed until you're the one that needs the help.
right,
Like,
Yeah, I
we've
just-
had,
I
we've had
definitely think
tornadoes
it's
come through certain parts years
because
ago.
I see churches
should
and
try to
other
help yourself, too.
services. Yeah, that's too, that too.
And that gets into that whole, there's a, you know, the social media aspect of it. Little things like Phoenixville, I mean, when 23 was closed through Valley Forge Park, may not seem like a major disaster, but it took 2.5 hours to get from 422 to the borough, which is like a 5-mile commute. So it was just getting that word out there, hey guys, you know, the sewer main broke at 23, it's gonna be closed, try and navigate your way around. You may be better off going up 422, getting off at the Limerick exit, and coming back in from the west side of town. And people actually were like, oh my God, I never even thought of that, because it was a shutdown for about 2 weeks. A little disaster, I mean, you know, you think about mini disasters that happen, and like you said about a development, and it's just an official response. The school's on lockdown. Why is the school on lockdown? Well, somebody from your OEM, one of the volunteers from OEM, can contact the school district in an official capacity and put out an official release then on social media. Hey, this is why, please urging everybody not to go near the school. You're not going to pick up your child anyway. Don't go over there and create more confusion. It's that releases that you were talked about, coordination then with your police agencies. It's just a coordination. When you think of emergency management, it's more of coordination. And that's basically all it is. It's even coordination with the county. The county would like to see more done. I mean, this is coming from somebody at the county. So, you know, and that was, they were kind of like, well, why are you doing it for Phoenixville when you don't even live in the borough anymore? So,
what line would it be if we had?
I would either put it for now, like, either under buildings and grounds, other services and charges, or just under miscellaneous. And then if it's something that we do incur, you know, we can
Give
always.
me a line number.
Oh, I'm sorry. 409.30 is other services and charges, or we can just do it under miscellaneous, which is down at the bottom.
I don't see miscellaneous.
Why would it be under public safety?
Well, just, I looked there,
Because there's no line there.
there's no line there. I mean, we can always put a line in there, but there isn't one there now. Miscellaneous is down.
We don't wanna put too much on
Isn't there a line
miscellaneous.
there and it's blank? 411.
Well, the way that I do this is like, it'll be
411.53.
like a title of something, and then it's a blank, and then it's like, listed below.
Yeah,
That's what
new-
it's
new
like.
line.
So why don't we add 411.50,
5.3.
or 53, I'm sorry. Add a line? Can you do that in your computer?
Where are you put 411?
Right under
Right
public
above
safety,
contributions to the
411.53.
fire company.
There is no 53 yet.
And what would you call it? What do you think we should call it?
East Nottingham, oh, your OEM, the
OEM.
Office of Emergency Management. It would be
Okay.
East Nottingham
Is that
Township
ENT,
Office.
OEM?
OEM.
OEM?
OEM?
Office of Emergency Management. I'll fit in there, MGMT. I think it's whatever.
Oh, yeah.
2,500, 3,000, what do you think?
What do you think the initial,
The initial is having, formalizing, getting some community people. I have a couple people that I know would do it with John. I know Pat, I met with Pat and John. Formalizing a group of people and who's gonna kind of do what. Formalizing the mission statement. There's the borough's mission statement. Getting things kind of rolling, maybe a phone extension, use of the mailing address, obviously being able to meet here. And then things like down the road, I'm trying to think into 2015 is, you get a couple cases of water so that there's a water supply. If you're gonna open this up as like a little warming shelter from noon to 4 during a storm when people have power out. Yeah, and maybe have a little bit to be able to get
So
some,
I would think if we budget 3,000 for it,
I think that's
that'll be more
plenty.
than enough.
That covers the NIMS training?
NIMS is free. Most of your trainings and stuff are going to be free. Most of the pamphleting and stuff like that. It'd be like getting a little sign made for like a table tent.
Here's what I think you should do though, Bill, is I'd like to add you to the agenda for the next meeting
Okay,
and bring it up in the
Okay.
next meeting.
Office
Okay.
of Emergency Management?
I wanted, and that was kind of like the formalizing of it.
Yeah.
Huh?
I kind of wanted to do like the formalizing of it, bringing it from just, you have an emergency coordinator, but there's no, he's coordinating, but like there's no real formal OEM where it's actively seeking volunteers within your own community to help staff it, to help manage
Can you be
it.
at our November meeting?
Yeah,
So, call Pat, have her add it to the agenda.
okay,
So I'd like you to bring it up to the residents,
that's fine.
and then we can actually vote on it.
But I wanted to make sure that I was here and then John
Yeah,
said
and we
good
can add it
luck.
to the budget, but,
And
I'd like to be able to vote on it at a meeting with the residents.
And I think that was one of the things that, John was, I don't think he felt that was gonna have any success in this. Was his, and I said, well, I'm a resident, and you do have 8,600 people, you do have a large geographic township. Much smaller municipalities have OEMs that coordinate with the county.
3,000.
I put in for 3,000, but my
According to
suggestion
the
would
rec
be
authority, we
too,
have
is that
9,100.
Well, there you go, 9,100.
in 2015, when we pay John Reynolds, I would also put him in here, in that
Yeah,
category, so
right.
should we do 3,500?
235 then. And we're probably gonna give him, what, 750 is what he's asking for, Gene?
Yeah,
That's what Gene wants to raise it to.
Oh, I thought he was
I don't think
asking
he's
for
asking.
that.
That's
well,
pretty
he
big.
asked what we're gonna get. Yeah,
So what do you want me to put in?
3750.
3,750,
That'll cover it if he asks for more. If he doesn't, then so be it.
okay.
I just want, I don't want money, I'm not looking to get paid, I wanna
That's good,
actually
we're not gonna
formalize
pay
it with volunteers.
Thank you, Bill.
he got
So
the-
thank you very much. But yeah, I just wanted you to bring it up in the meeting, get it on the agenda, bring it up in the meeting so that we can vote on it as a board with the public here.
Okay,
All right,
Okay, so our total expense changes then to $1,684,166.
And what's that gonna leave us over budget then? Or
$96,629 income and expenses.
629?
Minus the 75,000 of the open space income, and you get the real how much.
Right.
True, true.
Now, did we take any money out of our accounts for open space? Did we pay that off? So we didn't have to take any money out of our, okay, good. I was gonna be right about that. Okay. You had a question?
Couple of them. Previous administrations always tried to keep the work in this township. If there was a lawyer in this township, a plumber, whatever. And when Roger was supervisor, Eric was fired when he got hired. And she doesn't live in the township. What's the policy for spending township money, not keeping it in the township? And I have a little bit of a problem with Winnie. I asked her 2 questions at the last meeting, and I'll be charitable and say both questions she answered less than accurately. And the other thing was the SPCA contract, do they cover cats, or is that just dogs?
I believe it's any stray
Any
animals.
Any animal.
Because the dog warden is required to pick up stray animals.